A deal on Dickens, who could resist? A stack of Austen, warmly kissed. Golden Age crime tales twist and turn, every page a treasure to learn. Books keep coming home with me, piles so tall they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea, reading always feels so free.
Hi, my name is Talia. Welcome to Talia Nerds Out. So I'm actually really shocked that I haven't already done a book review on this. So I'm going to hopefully knock out a quick book review. And yeah, so this was read actually during Christmas of last year, so that would have been 2025. This is Georgette Heyer's A Christmas Party. And this is probably the Georgette Heyer mystery that I've liked the best. So, I'm going to go through my normal, not litmus test, but my normal kind of breakdown that I usually do with mysteries, where I talk about how it stands up to kind of like certain criteria for me, like, well, I have no idea what just fell. Oh, I think I do. Hold on. Sorry about that. Okay. So, first of all, I like the detective in this. He is actively involved. This is Inspector Hemingway of Scotland Yard. And one of my issues that I've had with past Georgette Heyer mysteries, as much as I enjoy her character development, usually I've felt that her detective has been very underdeveloped. And I mean like her inspector character, like for the one, not necessarily for let's see, it's Who Shot the Butler or Why Shoot the Butler? Why Shoot a Butler, actually. For that one, you had an amateur detective, so he was fine. But for the other Georgette Heyers I've read since, let's see, it's the Murder in the Stocks, Behold, There's Poison, and there's one other one that I read. My issue with those mysteries, other than Why Shoot a Butler, is that the police inspector involved is actually not terribly competent, in my opinion, or usually there is some amateur detective that really does a lot of the legwork for him. And it's not like there was a true partnership usually. It's just that even though these are considered his books, the detective's books, he really very much takes the back seat and he does very little to actually solve the mystery. That's not the case with Inspector Hemingway in A Christmas Party. Now, as I would expect for Georgette Heyer, the characters are well drawn. I very much enjoy them, but I have come to expect that of her work. Although she also does, as usual, an excellent job in making some very unlikable characters as well. And I've come to expect that of her too. But what I like particularly about this is I felt that she did a good job, besides having a detective who feels like an active participant and the person actually solving the murder. I liked the fact that Georgette Heyer definitely lets you feel like you can possibly solve this mystery. And I had, by the time I got to a certain point in the book, and I can't remember where it was past the halfway point, I think. And this is a pretty thick book, although it's not a terribly tall one. It's over 400 pages, as I recall. Okay, not over 400 pages, it's almost 400 pages. It's 396 pages. But what I liked about it is that there was enough of a trail and enough of in the way of hints that even though I didn't want the particular person to be the murderer, I was able to guess that this was most likely the person, even though I didn't necessarily know the motive or the. There were plenty of people, let's put it this way, not necessarily that I didn't necessarily know the motive, just that there was plenty of people who could have a motive. That she did a good job of making any one of them have an equal chance of being the murderer. Like, it would have been realistic for several of the people. I can maybe think of only one person who I would be like, yeah, no, I don't think that they had any reason whatsoever. But for the most part, it could have been any one of the people involved. A typical, like, Agatha Christie-esque, very closed party murder. Like, think of something akin to what occurs in Hercule Poirot's Christmas, which occurs in a similar time of year, of course. And it's the same, very much. You have a family party there, and you're looking at the people in the family. Now, in this case, I believe there was actually a snowstorm that kept them stranded, if I recall correctly, which puts one in mind more of like Murder on the Orient Express in that way. But so the suspects are well set up. The actual murderer, when you get to the end and there's the reveal, who he is or who she is, I don't want to really give that away, doesn't come out of nowhere. It makes sense that this person would be the murderer, even if this may or may not have been someone that you wanted to be the murderer. But because it made sense, even though this wasn't necessary, this very much was not a person I wanted to be the murderer, it made sense to me, and I felt satisfied with the ending because it did make sense based off of things that had been the groundwork that Georgette Heyer had laid out, the hints that she had sort of woven within the story. And even, she did a good job of both like what was said, but also what wasn't said. The things that could be either implied or what a discerning reader might be able to pick up from just circumstances around what was going on. Like I said, this was my favorite of her mysteries. The other title for this is Envious Casca. I don't know why Envious Casca, but this thoroughly enjoyable. I believe I gave this a 5-star. I haven't yet done a journal entry on this one because this is one of the 2025 ones that I don't think I've done any of my 2025 journal entries. I'm still finishing up 2024, and I'm working actively on keeping up with 2026. So I am trying to start weeding through some of the 2025s, but it's taking a little bit longer than I would like. But I would definitely recommend this. I do need to read Georgette Heyer's other mysteries, but it's going to the other ones are going to have to work hard to stand up to this one because I really enjoyed it. I don't think that I have so much to say about this. Really, with a mystery, you have to be careful. It did make me want to read Agatha Christie immediately afterwards because there were a couple characters that made me think fondly of another Agatha Christie that I read, The Hollow, which, even though it's not the same, it's another family setting. And there was a character that made me think of a character that I liked in The Hollow. Not because it was like a one-to-one issue or anything like that. It was something to do with that character's dynamic with another character. And I had liked both in this book and in The Hollow, the two characters that reminded me, that they were kind of similar to each other. And I'm doing this because the Hollow is up there. So it made me want to read the Hollow, and I ended up rereading it after I read this, just because it reminded me of another book that I really liked, just with certain of the characters. I would definitely not consider the Hollow to be a similar book to this, though. It just had some characters that made me think of, a character from the Hollow. Anyway, so that's it for this book review. Really enjoyed it. If you've not read A Christmas Party, I do recommend it. I happen to read it during Christmas time, but I don't think that it needs to be read during the Christmas season. It's just, if you're like me, and when you have Christmas time come up, you like to read a bunch of Christmas themed books, this might be a nice Christmas read for you. Although it doesn't have to be a Christmas read. If you just want to read what I consider thus far Georgette Heyer's best mystery, I would recommend this any time of the year. Anyway, that's all that I have to say. For real this time. Maybe eventually I will be able to show on here when I, eventually complete the journal entry for this. I love the cover. I am a bit mad that it doesn't have the same cover as the rest of my Georgette Heyers, where they all have like that really nice edging here with like the circle picture. This one's different than all of them. I try to find the other one, find this in that particular collection, but apparently they never put it out in that collection. So I was pretty mad about that, because actually it's also put out by Source Books. They just chose not to do the same cover for this one mystery, which is annoying because I liked that cover, but this is a cool cover. This is still a cool cover, even though I initially was pretty annoyed that it wasn't the cover that I wanted it to look like. It's still pretty cool. You got the snow. You got the car pulled up to the, I'm calling it a mansion, but I don't know if that's really the most accurate description of it. But yes, I think that's it for real this time. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. Hope that you have a very wonderful day, and I will see you the next time. God bless. Bye-bye.
Books keep coming home with me. Piles so tall, they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea. Reading always feels so free.